Sophia.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
How are you feeling?
A little nervous.
I'm excited and I'm nervous as well, both at the same time.
Did you prep really?
No, not at all. It's just winging it, honestly. Okay.
To begin, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Josh Sano.
My name is Shilpa Jacob.
My name is Dia. My name is Sujidra, Such, or sometimes Jenith.
Members of the Lake Youth see you as a giver. Do you identify yourself as a giver?
I would not have put that title for myself.
That's something I would love to identify as. I would like to make it a part of my identity, which is pushing me forward to do this.
You know, reflecting on what is a giver, it's kind of like someone that thinks about how other people, what they need in the moment, and I try my best to do that wherever I can. So yeah, I try to be a giver.
What does living last?
So to me, living last is living like how Jesus did.
You know, trying to help others before putting mine.
I also think that it can apply to my relationship with God, and it could also be about surrendering to God's will for your life and kind of putting your wants and needs for your life last and instead choosing to put God's will for your life first.
Living last made me think that that means there's someone first. And when you're in a state of putting other people in front of you, you might feel drained sometimes. And that made me think but you don't have to, because there's someone above you, which is Christ. You can lean on him. And that's kind of what I took away from that theme, living last.
And would you say, as for that definition, that living last is easy to you, or is it difficult?
I wouldn't say that it's easy. I think it varies.
It does come fairly easy to me, I would say.
All of us know it's not really easy to take care of others and at the same time as take care of ourselves.
My natural response when someone asks for help or their need is to just say yes. How can I help you? What do you need from me? And then only later do the other thoughts start coming in, what's my schedule like? And do I have the actual capacity to help this person? And that can start to get a bit challenging.
Sometimes it can be hard, especially when you feel drained yourself, or if you feel like you're doing a lot and maybe not filling yourself. It's a choice that I have to make daily.
I feel like as time goes on and the more you do it, you'll get used to it, and I always feel pleasure in helping others.
What's your most preferred or most valuable giving to others?
I think the main way I give to people is through my time and also through the talents that God has given me.
I think time is probably the biggest thing that I give. Even just quality time with someone, that can be a form of giving. And I feel for me, time is priority one. And then that will also tell me how can I support them later. Is it actions, or is it money? Is it something else? It'll show me which of the other ways of giving do they need.
As a high schooler, there's a big limit for me to spend my money and my resources, because I'm only turning 18 and I don't have many resources to give her money. But then of course time and talents that I got, sharing it with others, I do see a lot of value in that. And I feel not all of us have the same talents, and sharing is caring.
Given our first culture, have you ever felt that you've been judged for being so giving and putting yourself?
Not necessarily at church, but in work and school and things like that. I think that people don't necessarily understand why I am the way that I am. And I recognize it as more of me trying to emulate Christ, but to explain that to someone who doesn't have a relationship with Christ is very hard. So I've had to kind of just recognize that not everyone is going to understand why I'm doing the things that I do, but me understanding my relationship with God I am comfortable with that. And I don't need to necessarily explain that to people either.
I think especially in this culture that's very self-promoting, self-gratifying, it puts a lot of emphasis on self-care and putting yourself first above other people. It can seem a little bit crazy to live last, but I think it's because it is kind of a natural response for me. I don't mind it, and I think like when people do question generosity again, it does give you an opportunity to self-evaluate your motives. So it's not always a bad thing. It opens room for conversation.
If it gets to a point where it's like criticizing me, or like if it's like, getting more personal, there's a difference between the word hearing and listening. I would be respectful to hear their opinion. I don't have to listen to them.
I think reminding yourself that like this idea of living last is something that Christ gave us. It's a commandment like he gave us. Not everyone understands that. As a Christian, that's what we're called to do, and not everyone can relate to that. So just like being empathetic to that, realizing that not everyone will understand that, but like doing your best.
Is there any Bible verse or story that you kind of want to help fuel like giving nature?
The one important verse that I always remember is Romans chapter 12, verse 10. It goes like this: be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourselves. I feel like that fits the best in this situation.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, which is I can do all things through Christ. So worrying doesn't help, but I also have that reassurance that I can do everything through him because he doesn't give you more than you can handle.
Does it ever like take a toll on you? Do you feel like it gets tiring?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like a running joke with my family and friends that like, Shilpa, this is the year that you're going to say no to things and you're going to put yourself first.
When I was a little bit younger and I was maybe less spiritually mature, I definitely experienced burnout because I was trying to do too many things. But I've learned as I've gotten older and as I've studied the Bible more and as I've, I guess, built my relationship with God, that there are things that you are able to say no to.
When it comes to like burnout and stuff, I feel like you really experience that when we kind of try to take all that stress or like everything that like we want to give on ourselves, and we try to do it on our own strength, which kind of like, that's the reason why that Philippians verse like speaks to me, because whenever I do feel that burnout, I always have to like go back to that verse and be like this wasn't the way it was meant to be. I wasn't meant to take all that stress on my own shoulders, do it by my own strength. I do have Christ, who is that first person to lean on, because he doesn't give me more than I can handle, and if he gave me this, there is a reason why, and he will show me how.
The saying of like, you need to fill your own cup before you pour into other people, I think it's like very important.
Because when your own cup is not full, you can't help other people.
Do you believe you found a way to strike a balance between giving to others and, like you said, ensuring your own well-being?
I don't think I'm there yet.
Still a process, still learning it.
It's me again. I have to follow some rules where I have to make sure that I'm again giving enough priority to my family.
I think it just comes from a genuine joy to just give, and then it's only later that I realize like, oh, I don't know if I can actually handle all of this. So it is a work in progress for me.
How do you sustain yourself in this lifelong commitment to living lost and loving first?
The more time I spend studying the Bible and praying, I feel like I hear God more clearly. The times that I let my relationship with God go is when I try to overdo things.
Instead of just doing what I did and just saying yes right away, give it a moment to tell them like, okay, let me pray about this for a bit, and then decide like, is this something that I'm doing for my own gain, or is this something that is actually going to further God's kingdom?
God has that place of desire in your heart for a reason. Whereas if it's because I don't want to say no, maybe like reevaluate why. The intention behind it, I think, is very important.
Do you think there's a way you can encourage and teach others to adopt a similar mindset, like giving?
I don't specifically like telling people like you should be doing this or you should be giving this way. I would rather do things in love and then hope that people would use that as an example.
When others see that and they see that love of Christ, like I'm hoping that's what will encourage them to also want to follow suit, kind of thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for pouring your heart out, Thea.
Yeah, no problem.
So,